Okay, let's go ahead and start chapter 12, where our main goal is going to be multiplying polynomials. And you already know what a polynomial is, and a monomial, and a binomial, and a trinomial. Again, those haven't got anything to do with the degree of a polynomial. It's just a classification based upon the number of terms. Monomial, just one term. Binomial, two terms. Trinomial, three. And a polynomial, all of those are polynomials, but in particular, a polynomial with more than three terms, we have no other word for other than a polynomial. But like I said, I will probably just use the generic term polynomial. I'm not a fan of the classification so much by number of terms, but you need to know it because others will use it. And you need to know what they're talking about. So let's do 1a. So really we're going to multiply 4x cubed times 2x to the sixth. We've more or less done this together. What we do is we group together like terms, meaning the coefficients, and then we group together the variable terms, and then we just multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. X cubed times x to the 6 is x to the 3 plus 6, which is x to the 9th. We'll do 1b down here. So I have minus 3 t to the 4th times 5 t to the 3rd. Again, we just group together the coefficient, the like terms. And then the variable terms. Minus 3 times 5 is minus 15. T to the 4 times t cubed is t to the 4 plus 3, which is minus 15 t to the 7th. And pretty much that same principle holds for all of these. 1c. So we're doing minus 4.2 x cubed times 5.1 x to the 5th. So again, that's equal to minus 4.2 times 5.1 times the variable terms, which is x to the 3rd times x to the 5th. Notice how much easier the variable terms are. So let's go down here and figure out what minus 4.2 times 5.1 is. So the end result is going to be negative, and this is not minus here. This is multiplying. So 2 times 1 is 2. And 2 times 5 is 10. Minus 4. I'm just going to ignore the minus here. Just erase that. Because I know that the end result is going to be negative. So I just treat it like they're both positive. And as a result, I just put a negative sign at the end. So 4 times... I'm not doing this the way I taught you all, I know. And 4 times 5 is 20. And our answer is 21.42. Okay, I'll teach you. We'll do this the way I taught you. Sorry about that. I'm hearing my phone go off in the other room. So it's a good review. That's the reason I'm doing it. So we want to do minus 4.2 times 5.1. Well, that's equal to minus 4.2 times 5.1. So we're going to do 5.1 times 4.2. And what do? We move the decimal place over. We look at 51, and I take note, I moved it one place on the top. So I moved it over one place. And then I'm going to move this over one place and do 42. So I move that over one place. And 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. And now I'm literally just adding 2, 4, 1, 2. And there's my decimal place. But now my total number of places is 2 places. So I need to move it 2 places over to here and then attach a negative sign. So my answer is 21.42. So back up over here. Minus 4.2 times 5.1 is minus 21.42. And x cubed times x to the 5th is x to the 8th. And let's do this next one. Move that off. Give us some. So again, this is not bad either, because multiplying fractions are the easiest of all things. So I'm multiplying minus 2/7 a to the 4th. So that's a monomial in the variable a, times 7/8 times a to the 7th. So again, I just multiply the coefficients together. And then I multiply the variable terms. So my answer here is going to be negative. And to multiply fractions, I literally just multiply numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. So I get 14 on the top and 56 on the bottom. And this is going to be a to the 4 plus 7 is to the 9th. But we can simplify this. As a matter of fact, you may have noted that I missed an easy simplification. Well, clearly you know this can be reduced because 14 is divisible by 2 and 56 is divisible by 2. But if you would have noticed right here, you notice that there's a factor on the top and a factor on the bottom. So if you notice that, you're literally done, and you can write the answer as minus 2/8 a to the 9th, which then simplifies to minus 1/4 a to the 9th. So the whole work here is just reducing the fraction. Any way you go about it, you've got to reduce it. And just a little bitty examination of this here. That's 7 on the bottom, not 8. You're perfectly allowed to do the following. Cancel out the 7s and then divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. That leaves a minus 1 and a 4. And that's how we get minus 1/4. However you all want to do that. That's up to you. Sometimes it literally you don't even think about it because your mind is on something else. But at the end result, you should always look at your end statement, if it's a fraction, and see if it can be reduced. So now let's do 2a. So here, literally, what we're going to be doing is just using the distributive property. Now I'm going to write the distributive property here on the side just to remind you. These arithmetic and multiplicative properties of the real numbers are always in play. Well, we multiply a times b and a times c, and we keep the sign here, so that's equal to ab plus ac. And if you need this version, again, we just use the distributive property. That's equal to a times b minus a times c. So we're going to go here and do the same. I'm going to multiply this entire term times minus 12a. So that's 5 times minus 5 times 12 times a times a. Then it's going to be 5a times minus 6. So that's minus 6 times 5 times a. So minus 5 times 12 is minus 60. A times a is a squared. And minus 6 times 5 is minus 30a. So minus 60a squared minus 30a. Now let's do number B. If you don't remember the distributive property, it's a good time to go back and review it. So I have 4x cubed times minus 7x plus 1. So again, I'm going to take this entire term here and multiply it by this entire first term. So that's going to be 4. Since this is a negative, I'm going to actually save myself some, it looks better. I'm just going to put my negative on the outside, because a positive times a negative is going to be a negative. So that's 4 times 7. My negative comes on the outside, times x cubed times x. Now I'm going to take that same term and multiply it by 1. But that's easy. Anything multiplied by 1 is just that term. So minus 4 times 7 is 28. X cubed times x is x to the 4th. Plus 4x cubed. So again, just basic repeated uses from here on out. It's going to be repeated uses of distribution. So here we have, this is 2c, minus 6y to the 5th times 8y to the 4th minus 12y squared. So again, we're going to take this entire first term and we're going to multiply it by the entire first term here and then by the entire second term. So that's going to be equal to minus, coefficients first, 6 times 8, now variable terms, y to the 5th times y to the 4th. Then minus 6, so this is a minus times a minus, so it's going to be a plus, 6 times 12. And now the variable terms, y to the 5th from this outside term, and y squared from this term right here. So now it's just a process of just doing the math. That's minus 6 times 8 is minus 48. Y to the 5th times y to the 4th, y to the 9th. 6 times 12 is 70. Y to the 5th times y squared is y to the 7th. I just add exponents. In 2D, we have 3ab to the 7th power times 3ab cubed minus 12b squared minus 4a. So what we do again is we take this outer term and we distribute it to each of the terms in parentheses. So this is going to be equal to, let's look at the coefficient terms, 3 times 3 times a and b to the 7th times b cubed. Got to give me some more room. Then we're going to do 3 times minus 12. So that's the same as minus 3 times 12. Now let's do the a terms. There's one a term here. There's just one a term. And now the b terms. So there's a b to the 7th factor in the first and a b squared factor in the second. And now we're ready to do the last. So 3 times minus 4, if you want, you can do that in your head and just write that down as minus 12. And the a terms, that's a times a. And there's a b 7th term, but no b term at the end. So now let's simplify all of this. 3 times 3 is 9. A times a is a squared. B to the 7th times b to the 3rd is b to the 7 plus 3, which is 10. 3 times 12 is 36. I just have a single a term. B to the 7th times b squared is b to the 9th. Then I have minus 12. A times a is a squared. And then I have b to the 7th. So take a look at that and make sure you can see how that's going. You should be able to do a similar one to it. This is really, really important. All of this is important. Every last bit of this section is very fundamental in future classes. So now we're multiplying two binomials. You say, okay, how's that going to go? Well, it's not going to be so bad. It's just an extension of our distribution law. So here I'm going to note, if you know how to FOIL, you can do so. And you're saying, what the heck? If you're saying, what the heck, just ignore this right here. It's another way that it's a special formula for multiplying two binomials. But it only works when you're multiplying two binomials, period. That's the only time it works. So what I do is I show you a method that works for everything. So what I do is I take the first term in my first factor, which is x, and then I multiply it by my entire second binomial, x minus 5. And then I take the second term in my first binomial, and I multiply it again by my second binomial or factor. And then I just go. X times x is x squared. X times minus 5 is minus 5x. 3 times x is plus 3x. And 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. So now all I have to do is collect like terms, and they're literally right here. So x squared minus 5x plus 3x is minus 2x minus 15. And that is my answer. So let's continue on. This is 3b. So 3x squared minus 4 times 2x cubed plus 5. So that's going to equal to I'm doing this because I'm going to change the color here. First term, 3x squared. Second term, minus 4. Now, 3x squared times 2x squared is 3 times 2 times x squared times x squared. 3x squared times 5 is 3 times 15. So 3 times 5, which is 15, times x squared. Down here, minus 4 times 2x squared is minus 4 times 2, which is minus 8. Sorry, this is supposed to be x cubed. Let's change that to x cubed. So that's going to be x cubed there. And that's going to be 4 times x cubed minus 20. I got that right. 2x cubed, 2x cubed. Sorry about that. So 3 times 2 times x squared times x cubed. And 3x squared, that's fine. Minus 4 times 2 is minus 8 times x cubed. And minus 4 times 5 is minus 20. So we're good to go. So we're going to simplify. 3 times 2 is 6. X squared times x cubed is x to the 5th. That's already been simplified. So the only thing that we really need to do is to write this in order of descending powers. So that's 6x to the 5th minus 8x cubed plus 15x squared minus 20. So I don't need to put in a 0 plus 0 times x. That's not what's required. That requirement, if you remember from 2 lectures ago, they said write the polynomial in descending powers where every power of a variable appears. And that's the reason we were adding in 0 times x powers. 0 times x to some power. So here is 3 C. And we're given x plus 3/4 squared. But remember, this is shorthand for x plus 3/4 times x plus 3/4. So that's going to be x, my first term, times x plus 3/4 plus 3/4 times x plus 3/4. We will actually learn a formula to do this. But you can always do this way. So this is x times x, which is x squared. X times 3/4 is 3/4 times x. 3/4 times x. I'm just multiplying again, just using distribution. And 3/4 times 3/4, well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. So the only thing I have to do is collect like terms, and that's these middle terms right here. So the end result is x squared plus 6/4 x plus 9/16. And I need to simplify that middle fraction, reduce it. So that reduces to 3/2 x plus 9/16. What is this one? Is this still 3? Yeah, this is still 3D. 3D. So you should pause the video at some point. Maybe you've been doing this all along, and try one of these on your own. This one would be a good one. So I take the first term, and I multiply it all by the entire second binomial. Then I take my second term, multiply it by 2 minus 3x. So this is equal to 2 minus 3x, because 1 times 2 minus 3x is 2 minus 3x. Now this next one is minus 5 times 2 times x, and then minus 5 times minus 3 is plus 15 x times x. So this is equal to 2 minus 3x minus 10x plus 15. X times x is x squared. So let's collect like terms, which are these middle terms. That's minus 13x plus 15x squared. And the last thing we're going to do is we will write it in terms of descending powers. And that's going to be 15x squared minus 13x plus 2. And that's our final answer. (3e). So y minus 12 times y squared plus 6y minus 3. We're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to take my y term and I'm going to multiply it by y squared plus 6y minus 3. Then I'm going to take my minus 12 and multiply it again by y squared plus 6y minus 3. And we're going to do the multiplication. Y times y squared is y cubed. Y times 6y is plus 6y squared. Y times minus 3 is minus 3y. Minus 12 times y squared is minus 12y squared. Minus 12 times 6y is minus 70y. And minus 12 times minus 3 is plus 36. So now all I have to do is collect like terms. My largest degree term is the y cubed. Now let's do the y squared terms. Then the degree 1 term. And the constant term. Now that I've collected like terms, I just simplify. 6y squared minus 12y squared is minus 6y squared. Minus 3y minus 70y is minus 73y. And then I have plus 36. And this is my final answer. So we have 2 more to do. And you need to get really good at these skills. Yeah, okay, this is F. Okay, so this is 3F. And kudos to you if you paused it and you got the answer to the last one right. And to any of these answers or problems that you are pausing and doing on your own and getting them right. So I'm going to take my x term and multiply it by this entire trinomial. 4 minus 5x minus x squared. Then I'm going to take my minus 8 term, multiply it again by 4 minus 5x minus x squared. So that's equal to x times 4 is 4x. X times minus 5x is minus 5x squared. X times minus x squared is minus x cubed. Minus 8 times 4 is minus 32. Minus 8 times minus 5x is plus 40x. And minus 8 times minus x squared is plus 8x squared. So let's collect like terms. My largest degree term is that x cubed term right there, and it's minus. Now let's do my x squared terms. And my x terms. And my constant term. Now you can kind of see these are like terms, these are like terms. So the final answer is minus x cubed. Minus 5x squared plus 8x squared is plus 3x squared. 40x plus 4x is plus 44x. And I have minus 32. So let's check some things right here. Let's check my x squared terms. So that's minus 5x squared. And down here I have plus 8x squared. So I'm happy with this answer. If you see an error in this, let me know. but I'm just wanting to check this really fast. And the only thing I have different is is the x squared term, and I just checked because it's x times minus 5x is minus 5x squared. And here minus 8 times minus x squared is plus x squared. It's plus 8x squared minus 5x squared. So I'm happy with that. And one last one. So it's 8ab minus b squared. Again, at some point we're going to learn a formula for squaring binomials. But right now I'm just going to translate it into exactly what that means. It means I multiply it by itself. So this is the base right here, and I multiply the base by itself twice. That's all I'm doing. Now I'm going to apply the rules of multiplication, which are basically distribution. So that's 8ab times 8ab. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm skipping a middle step here. I don't need to skip that middle step, do I? Not at this point, not while you're learning. That's 8ab times 8ab minus b. Then I grab my minus b term, and I multiply it by 8ab minus b. So this is equal to 8ab times 8ab. And this is equal to minus 8ab times b. So all I'm doing here is I'm taking this term right here, and I'm multiplying it by this, and then multiplying it by this. Now down here at the bottom, I'm doing an intermediate step. Yeah, I guess that's the color I have. This is minus b times 8ab, and then this is minus b times minus b. So now let's simplify. Let's start simplifying. So 8ab times 8ab, well, that's equal to 8 times 8, which is 64. A times a, which is a squared. B times b, which is b squared. Now this is minus 8 times a, and b times b is b squared. Now this is again minus b times 8ab is the same thing as minus 8ab squared. So let's do that over here. Well, that's equal to minus 8ab times b. What property justifies this? Well, the fact that minus a times b is equal to minus ab. So that's how I get the minus out there at the front. And then it's the commutative property of multiplication. This is one factor and this is the other. And factor 1 times factor 2, f1 times f, or f2 times f1 is the same as f1 times f2, because order of multiplication doesn't matter. And then minus b times minus b is plus b squared. So all that remains is simplification by combining like terms. And these two terms are like terms. So minus 8 is minus 16 ab squared plus b squared. And that is our final answer.